let's talk about how you can egress data from Connect Data Services. And within Connect Data Services, the idea of egress is the concept of data stored within Connect Data Services leaving or exiting the system, say for use in other applications. I'm going to talk through the different options you have for taking data from everything from individual streams here to asset properties and asset metadata and egressing it. And one of the first ways to do that is through the concept of data views. Now, data views allow you to access subsets of data from Connect Data Services in your data-driven applications. So you can use these items, say, for data science or analytics. And the idea being that you use these data views to prepare the raw Connect Data Services data and asset properties for use in third-party applications. And you can programmatically retrieve data view content using the REST API or through something like the native Power BI connector. And the point is that data services take those raw data and allow it to be normalized, aligned, and contextualized. So when a user is configuring a data view, which I've done here, they create queries. And those queries are configured to look at everything from individual streams or assets. In my case, I'm doing a search for assets, for PS assets, to get these pieces of rotating machinery. And once you construct one or multiple queries, the different properties of those, say my discharge flow rate, my current draw, those are brought in as fields of the data views. Now, these fields here end up creating a nice, streamlined, straightforward way of representing all these different sequential data store data items. You can rename them, you can group them, you can change the shape of this data to make it much easier to consume by third-party applications. And you can make sure that in this dataset, you include everything from just stream values to IDs, to metadata, to names, to static streams. So altogether, the idea is that data views allow you to prepare data from assets, from individual streams in this nice, streamlined way for allowing third-party applications to access it. And just to give you a preview of what that is, if you view an API console, I've gone ahead and done right here, you can actually see it'll generate for you an example API query that you would need to get this data in something like a CSV with headers. So if your end application needs that particular data that you defined in your data view, all of those different columns as a CSV with headers, the API console here will walk you through how you can construct that. And you can have a graphical interface for tailoring, customizing your query. And when you're done, under details, there's a URI that you can copy, use in your application with authentication to allow you to securely get that data. So again, data views do an amazing job of helping you contextualize, standardize, get that data in an analytics ready format here so that then you can access it through a third-party application. And one of the ways that you access it is via the REST API. And what I'm looking at right here is the API console, which is included in Connect Data Services under Developer Tools and API Console. And this lets you create and refine those requests graphically. You can edit the URI, you can change the query parameters, you can even change the headers so that you can build the query, test it out, see what your result set's going to be. And so before you try to egress this data, you basically make sure I've got my query exactly in the right format. I'm seeing exactly the result set that I want. So then I can go to details, copy this URI into my other application and use this URI to retrieve the data out of Connect Data Services. Our documentation, specifically the API reference, goes through all of the different endpoints and parameters that you can use to construct your queries here. This with great detail about how you can use them to get everything from stream data to asset data. Just to show different examples, for in this case, here I'm taking a look at an individual single stream. I'm querying it by ID and I'm going to its data and seeing the last data event for this single stream. I've gone ahead and said, yep, I want to get it. And sure enough, its timestamp is at 1500:08 and the value is 87.985794 degrees. So through this API console, you can construct queries to get everything from a single stream's value to whole data sets from a data view. Amazingly powerful REST API, very well documented and with some incredible routes for getting data in multiple different formats. And the API console is a great tool for when you graphically explore it. So again, altogether, when it comes to egressing data, single streams, or even asset properties, data views are a great way of preparing that data for egress. And then the REST API is a great way of actually querying that data out of Connect Data Services. And you can explore those queries right here in the API console. Now for high speed or high scale data, if folks are interested in accessing data that way, there's actual other one other route here in addition to this, and this is through what we call the change broker. Now, the change brokers are enterprise scale egress capability to allow systems to connect data services, sign up for updates, and receive them in real time when they make queries. So the change broker monitors changes to stream values, and then when you are signed up, each time you pull and do queries, you get the most recent values since your sign up. Now, I'm not going to get into too much detail here about this because this is detailed in other documentation and other videos, but in short, if folks are looking to create a system where they can sign up for updates and continually query the broker and get data refreshes since the last query, the last bookmarked query to the broker, an amazing way of issuing those REST API requests and getting very large amounts of data in near real time. So there's the direct REST API, which you can explore here in the API console for large scale, like enterprise level egress. The change broker is a great option too. But we want to talk about one final one here as well, because we know that there are going to be some applications that simply want to egress this data in a format directly to other tools, to off-the-shelf applications. And that's why we've included a Power BI connector that you can download and that allows you to query this data through Power BI. What this allows you to do is to retrieve these data views natively within Power BI. Once this is downloaded, it adds Connect Data Services data views as yet another data source within Power BI so that you can create your Power BI dashboards, using reports, analytics, visualizations, all of those without doing any coding whatsoever. The workflow there being all you need to do is design a data view, pick which fields you want, download the Power BI connector, and then from here, open Power BI, connect to Connect Data Services, and access your data from there. And just to show an example of this, here I've taken the same rotating machinery, PS1, PS2, PS0, and these fields right here, my current draw, my discharge flow rate, all these you might recognize, these are the exact fields from that data view that I showed you. Only in order to get these right here, I went to Get Data. Now that I have that Power BI connector installed, I can do a search for AVEVA, and sure enough, I can connect to my data views. Now, that Power BI connector, again, doesn't require any coding whatsoever. All you do is create that data view in the cloud portal. Then you can access it here from Power BI. You can change your time range. You can even edit your query directly in the Power BI query editor. In short, if people need to egress data and have it accessible through an off-the-shelf client tool into Power BI, that Power BI connector lets you do this just a handful of clicks, incredibly streamlined way. Again, we have an example of how you can do just this and how you can go end to end with getting data into Power BI. So again, all together today, we wanted to walk you through some of the options for egressing data from Connect Data Services and what that looks like to get data from your individual streams and your assets to third-party applications and what some of those routes and options are. Again, the documentation gives you much more information about this too. In the top right, you can always hit the question mark icon, right to Connect Data Service documentation, and under Get Started, there's a great section on egressing data that will walk you through some of the different options as well. And again, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. We're happy to have those discussions with you. Thank you.